Right. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to the IT Hour. Hello, everyone. Alan, Stephen, Samuel, Brandon. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to have people trickling in as we go along. Let's see who else we have here. Nathan, Kelly. All right. We've got some Artem, Matt. We've got some people here a little bit earlier than normal. So welcome, welcome. We are glad to have you here on this. Well, it's windy Friday morning where I am. I mean, the trees are just practically blowing over. It is it is one of those days.
Where did Josh go? Josh, come back. We just had everything working.
Oh no. All right,
Oh
we're
my
not gonna
goodness.
panic yet. So Brandon says he's back from vacation, and now we want to know where Brandon went on vacation. Nathan says it's windy in Wisconsin too. Oh, a wedding in Little Rock. Oh, wait, did you go in time to see the eclipse while you were there? Because I know, yeah, Little Rock was pretty close to the path. So, and Stephen went on a cruise. Wow. Oh, the wedding was during the eclipse. Oh, it was planned that way. That's pretty cool, Brandon. So fun, fun. Very fun. All right, hopefully Josh will
I think
reestablish.
he's gonna reconnect. So
Okay, good, 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 good. All right, so we'll keep doing our usual chit chat while Josh reconnects because I swear we tested everything and it was all working. We had it dialed in. So of course that happened. Well, anyway, it's Friday, April 12th. I'm Becky Scott, your cult leader. Oh, sorry. Um, we were,
shh.
oh yeah, I wasn't supposed to tell that was my ultimate plan. Um, we'll come back to that in a second. I'm Becky Scott, the head of community at Jump Cloud. She is our head of community, and Josh is here to talk about Microsoft
Not the
Store.
head of community, one of the arms of community. Becky went too far into the cult road and
Well,
didn't fully come back.
we were joking about how far things go. Urvashi, do you want to explain it about how far things can go?
Yeah, basically Josh and I were talking before, and then it just occurred to me that there's a very thin line between community and cult. So
And we
what's
like to
what's the
we like
line?
to push up against that line as far as we can.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
all the talk about coffee and caffeine and all the things that we have fun with. And I jokingly said that my ultimate goal is to become a cult leader, so it's perfect. We'll just keep leaning into it. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Is matching tattoos in the community side of the line or not? Because I have some design ideas.
I have
The
seen
la-
people get tattoos, brand related tattoos at times. So it could go to the community side or the cult side, depending on which way you want it to go.
How
Kelly
about
has a good
a logo?
guideline.
Coordinated outfits. Hmm.
Should we
All
do like
right, but
a theme day?
no burlap. I draw the line.
Although that
No.
reminds me, I was with my family and we were doing some reminiscing and we watched Horton Hears a Who. And there's an episode where Horton is talking about the matching outfits. And I'm trying to remember what scene it was, but it was pretty early on in the movie. But Horton was talking about getting matching outfits. And maybe it was like the hats. I don't recall, but it was pretty good.
My cousins and I have done matching outfits when we were kids, and we are a cult now, so you
Velour,
know.
yes, yes. The corduroy sports suits straight from the 70s. That
It
could
is
do
too warm where I live for a corduroy anything.
it.
So
Fair
could
enough.
make this like regionally adjustable, that would be great.
I don't know if you wear shorts and a shirt with short sleeves. I mean,
That's true.
it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a
Sure.
tracksuit.
Okay. I'd be open
Oh
to
no, no, my
corduroy
corduroy
hot
cult.
pants.
Let's leave the 70s in the 70s. In the previous century. We're going to leave that in the previous century, Josh.
Darn it, then
As the
where
kids say.
Oh yeah, it kills me when my kids say
Me out.
that's the last century. You're killing me. All right. Well, I hope everyone has had a good week and that you have good plans for the weekend. Doing anything fun this weekend? Or kind of chill?
I'm going to a belated eat the lunch. So there's going to be lots of food tomorrow. So that's all I have planned. And then I'll sleep through after that lunch until Monday.
Just
Just
recovering
food coma.
from the
36-hour food coma. Yeah,
Yep.
that's my
Nice.
plan.
Perfect.
That's great. Well, taxes are due this coming week in the US, so I'm sure many people will be. I have a couple last minute adjustments to make before I file, so I'll be doing that to make sure everything's correct, and that'll be fun, and hopefully enjoying some nice weather if the wind calms down a little bit.
In India, they give us till like the end of June, even though the financial year ends in April, because they know as a nation of over 1 billion people, we're going to start a little late.
Yeah, I can only imagine trying to process all of that. That's a lot. Oh, and one more thing. Today is my 3-year anniversary at Jump Cloud. I've been here 3 years as of today.
Wait, I need the reaction thingy.
Congratulations.
Reaction.
Oh, I can do. Let's see if I can get it to. I have to do it at a certain distance from myself. I don't think my window's wide enough to do the. You know
This is
what?
a very technical podcast.
There you go.
Down.
I'm just gonna use the manual one without
Yay.
without the hand gestures.
Have you
All
seen
right.
that GIF of that kid with winning the spelling bee? And like the confetti's falling on him and he's just like that's what Becky looked like just now with like the confettis. I'm just gonna use the manual one.
Okay, wait. I'll do it again.
I'm gonna but full serious. Okay, there we go. There we
Perfect.
go. I'm gonna find this GIF.
Oh, nice.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Hopefully that looks. I mean, I was too busy staring at it to make sure it was working to remember to make a happy face. Now you can capture that and turn it into a GIF or something.
I'm sending y'all this.
All right. We have, let me find my document, some community and product release updates. And then Josh has a wee demo. As he says, it's not going to take too long. But we will take questions and talk again about the roadmap and stuff like that. So moving on. We have a couple of scripts again. Sean has a let's find the missing apps script. So if you want to find some missing apps with a script, go look at Sean's post. And then Jurgen has a Mac OS iOS script, how to make use of the Jamf compliance editor along with Jump Cloud and custom policies. So
nice.
That sounds interesting. And in the product area, Scott has posted once again about Jump Cloud Go, but now it's Linux support. That has arrived. So yay, we just had Firefox and now following along on its tail is Linux. So Linux devices running Jump Cloud Agent version 1.180.0 and higher can now leverage Jump Cloud Go authentication within Chrome and other Chromium-based browsers. The Chrome extension must be installed and the Linux host system must have a trusted platform module, TPM, 2.0 and support GNOME to utilize Jump Cloud Go. Biometric authentication is not yet supported for Linux devices via Jump Cloud Go. So just that little caveat there. But very exciting that we're adding all of these extra supports for Jump Cloud Go. And seriously, if you have not checked that out yet and you want secure passwordless login, please go take a look. I can't emphasize enough how much I love it because we use it here and I get ready to log in and it says log in with Jump Cloud Go and I put my finger over there and go boop and it's done.
Yeah, we use it all internally within Jump Cloud, and it saves a not only it saves a ton of time in terms of logging in, because we use our obviously we call it dog food, but all of our own products we use internally first and forever, and it saves not only a ton of time, but it's much more secure, such that we can do it all with, in the case of Mac OS with a fingerprint, with Windows Hello. And now, as long as you have got a TPM on your Linux device, you can go that route as well. So it is a much more secure environment at the same time, saving you the time and effort of typing in your password 37 million times.
Yes, and they enforce very secure passwords. So talk about typing in a long password too. So,
So unless somebody steals your fingerprint, life is pretty good.
mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I'm all good. Yep, no problem.
Just reminded, the reason I made that face is because I recently read an article about a book that's in the Harvard Library that's bound in human skin.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's why my face did that. Now you all know, so
Now we're all going to make that face.
cringe.
I guess thanks for sharing.
Let's quickly move on.
All right. Let's see. I think that was all I had on my part of the list. So, Josh,
You bet.
your
Thank you
turn.
all. It is truly a pleasure to be back with everyone today. It's been a little while, I think about a month or so. And I think I'm just trying to kind of remember as time goes by. Last we spoke, we were talking about the Jump Cloud private repository. And that we're working with you all to try to create a Jump Cloud hosted storage for you all to put applications and install them on your Windows and Mac OS devices. We may have spoken about a potential integration with a Microsoft App Store. And today I'm here to share, if you've not seen it already, we have our first piece out and available to everyone. I will give a quick demo, let you all know how it works. If you've got questions, please feel free to chime in and ask anything, and I will do my very best to answer them. And then we can do a quick kind of review of where we were, where we're at now, and maybe where we're going. So without further ado, let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen here.
I promise he shared in practice earlier. So,
It was my best effort. We'll see if it works. Oh, something good is happening, maybe.
yes,
All right. Can everybody see my screen?
we can. I hope everybody in the chat can too.
Brilliant. So I am in the software management section of the admin portal. And in the Windows side, and so what you'll see, just so some background, is we do have the ability to install and manage apps through the VPP, or if you've got an Apple Business Manager account, but you're able to install and manage apps from Apple. We have not had that up until recently on the Microsoft side. So what this is going to allow you to do is there are applications in the Microsoft Store that you can now not only install on targeted devices and device groups, but also I'll show you some cool ways that you can lock them on those devices so that they cannot be removed by end users if they're critical for your business. And even cooler is that you can keep those applications up to date, such that if a newer version is published in the Microsoft Store, it'll automatically get deployed to those endpoints. So without further ado, I'm just going to install a new or add a new application. And so what I'm going to do is select Microsoft Store. And I get this screen here. And what this is going to help me do is there are some nuances to this that I can help walk through. But really what we're going to do is, it is a Friday today, and we were talking about music before as we were ramping up to this, and I really like some music. So I'm really interested. I want to add Spotify. So here it says package ID, and here's where it gets a little interesting. What you have to do from here is you're going to navigate, and there's a link right up here to go to the Microsoft Store. I already have it open, but I'm going to go to the Microsoft Store, and it shows me all these applications. There's a couple things to note, and I'll give you some hints here, but let's just go to Spotify. I'm going to search for Spotify. Brilliant. Listen to some music, and when I click on Spotify, it gives me all the information I'm looking for, but really the piece I need to include it within and install and manage it within JumpCloud is what's called a package ID. And the secret sauce is actually embedded in the URL. Hopefully you could all see the URL up here. And so this little starting after detail and ending before the question mark, there is my package ID. A couple things to note. Microsoft is awesome at making everything backwards compatible and supporting things for the very end of time, which is good for us old folks like myself. However, there are some applications that don't include what's called the package family. And those applications were not able to install and manage. So a little highlight so far, and I'm going to say that this is an assumption, and what we've seen so far, if the package ID starts with a number 9, you're good to go. If it starts with, say, an X or something else, it's likely an older package, which does not include the family name. And so we won't be able to manage it. That is all laid out in our documentation and within our platform. But just a note, if you see something that doesn't start with 9, you'll likely see an error. And that's something we're actively working on. But that being said, once I've got that package ID, I'm just going to simply copy it. I'm going to go back into the portal where it says package ID. I'm going to paste it. Now, here are the little things we talked about. Prevent auto update. And what this means is typically by default, we want to make sure that all these applications are updated on all your endpoints. If for some reason you want to append to a specific version, just select this checkbox. Otherwise, if there's a new version available, we will automatically update all those endpoints that it's targeted to. And here's the prevent users from uninstalling. If you want to force music onto all of your users, you can select this here and they will never be able to remove Spotify from their devices. A note here that you will have to remove this before you delete an application if you want your end users to be able to remove it. A couple other notes here is that by deleting or removing a Microsoft Store application, you don't actually delete it from those devices. All you're doing is removing the Jump Cloud management of that. So while this does force an install and push an install on those devices and an updated management, by removing the specific application, it doesn't remove it from those devices. So just to note, we'll be working with you to create some commands or else help with walking your end users through the process of removing it if you actually want to uninstall these applications from those devices. But do know that this process works for installation and management, but not for removing it from the device. And so what I'm just going to do is hit save. And now, hopefully, I have Spotify in here someplace. Where did I just put Spotify? Here it is from the Microsoft Store. And let's see. That is cool, but you know what we didn't do? I didn't assign any devices. So I have a Windows device online on my test org here. I'm going to add that device. And now that Windows device will now have Spotify on it. It sometimes takes up to 30 minutes to issue. This is all done via MDM, so that device needs to be Jump Cloud MDM managed. And due to that, it can take up to 30 minutes. We run a periodic MDM command. And so depending on timing, it could take up to 30 minutes for that to live on a device. That is all I have for the demo. And a couple things I want to continue to talk about is so that's what we have available today. If there are applications that you want to install and manage through the Microsoft Store, please have fun, enjoy it. If you've got feedback, questions, reach out to us. Happy to answer anything and provide feedback or take feedback, I should say. Further on, what you've noticed today is the way our platform works is you have to exit our the JumpCloud admin console and navigate and find things through the Microsoft Store. Very shortly, what we'll be able to do is integrate the actual store and search back into the portal. And so that'll ease that process, in which case you can search, find, and select the applications within the admin portal. And you won't even need to do the copy, paste, and exit into the Microsoft Store. So that's coming soon. So that should help as well. A couple other things as we're talking about cool roadmaps. Again, we had talked about this probably briefly a month or so back when we were talking about the private repository. We also probably spoke about some of the new cool things to come, which are still coming. And I just want to highlight for a few minutes what those things are. One, obviously, we just talked about is a better integration with the store so that you can search, navigate, and select those applications within the portal. The next piece that we can talk about is what's awesome about the Microsoft Store integration is we do have the ability to keep apps updated, really patch them. And that's something that we've been lacking on the VPP side. So the team is actively working on the ability to not only for you Mac OS and iOS and Apple folks who've been using VPP apps in the past, we've only supported being able to install those applications and being able to manage it that way. Shortly, we'll be able to keep those applications updated just like we are with a Microsoft Store app. So that's something we're really excited about. And what that allows for is now with your private repository, with self-hosted applications, with Apple VPP Store, and with the Microsoft Store, we're slowly filling out the ability to help you all manage those applications that are critical to your end users. So we're making really good headway there. And you might ask, well, Josh, there are some applications, and don't tell anybody, quite a few that aren't covered in those two stores, the Microsoft Store and the Apple VPP Store. And in fact, quite a few mainstream applications. So while we do have the private repo, or you can host them yourselves, we do know there's a lot of mainstream applications that if we can find a better way to help you manage that, that would be beneficial. So we are actively working on what we're calling a third-party application catalog. And that we will help with. Timing is still TBD, but what we're looking to do is help being able to, again, manage, install, patch those applications that aren't in the Microsoft Store and or the Apple VPP Store. So look for more information from me and JumpCloud on those. And as well, love to get your feedback as to what's working, what you'd like to see from us on the app management and patching front, and hopefully you'll find these features helpful and useful to you.
Awesome. We definitely have several questions for you.
Excellent.
All right, first one. What if the Microsoft Store is disabled? Does any of this work?
Ooh, very good question. So we actually have some provisos and all kinds of legal stipulations in the app. We do link to all the Microsoft APIs, and that our functionality is stood up and based on that. So if Microsoft does drop the store, the applications will still be on those devices. However, we won't be able to obviously manage, update, etc., because those package IDs won't go to anything. So that is a valid concern. What we have found, and our engineers spent a lot of time looking at this, because a lot of these aren't very well documented, these APIs. So we wanted to make sure that we can provide a robust solution to you. We actually dug in and found this is exactly the way Intune does it, as well as other solutions in the marketplace. So there will be a lot of people that are already using these same APIs. While that risk is definitely real, it's something that we've worked hard to mitigate the risk behind it and ensuring that these APIs are robust and supported as best as we could find within the Microsoft landscape.
Very cool. All right, I'm not sure about this next one, but we're gonna let it be asked anyway. Um, any scripts to run a specific Spotify song on repeat?
Oh, I say we run a challenge. I don't have anything on hand, but I bet we can create a challenge around that. Perhaps we can make it seasonal. We could have a seasonal challenge to create a good command.
My suggestion was, can we also write a script if someone's going to do that on repeat? Can we block certain songs? Like like maybe a certain song by Rick Astley. That's not the one he wanted to play, but my personal preference would be to make sure. No Rick rolling, please. Um, so maybe that could be part of the challenge too. No.
And there will be extra points given by voting up the playlist that gets involved in the command. If it's a good playlist that we could all rock out to, then extra points.
Today's
Absolutely.
episode may or may not be sponsored by Spotify.
All right. And then we've got another one. Not sure if this has been covered, but is there any process we should do if we already have been using Chocolatey for software management that we want to move to the Microsoft Store? And
Great.
Ricky seconded this.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know if we've got anything in documentation there, but I can certainly speak to it. So if you're already using it within Chocolatey, one, you can keep using the Chocolatey if you want, all good. If you'd like to move over, and if that specific application is within the store, what you'd want to do is just remove it so it's not managed from Chocolatey anymore, and then create it within the Microsoft Store. In which case, what the then MDM commands will do is one, verify that the right version is on those devices, and then manage it directly through what's now the Microsoft Store through the Jump Cloud admin portal. So again, what you'd want to do is create the new version of that application through the Microsoft Store, associate the devices you want, and then remove the duplicate version from the Chocolatey repository.
And we've got a quick follow up to that. What happens if you have both apps? Should you overlap the installs? What happens to the user preferences data?
I don't know. That is a good question. We'll have to verify on that. Yeah, let me come back to you on that one. Overlapping can sometimes create weird race conditions that can sometimes toggle back and forth and do funny things. So I would not recommend having those scenarios exist. But certainly let us do some testing and we'll come back to you on that.
That's really good. It also, if this is only available for Windows MDM managed, I do have older devices that weren't compatible with Windows MDM. Are there other ways around it?
Not today. Great question. Not today, but it is something we're actively working on. So know that we do have, and we have heard from customers that might not have Jump Cloud MDM managed systems, and they're looking for other solutions here because that's the same case for obviously the private repo for Windows applications. So it's something we're working toward.
Awesome. And then here is another one. I need to sandbox this, but figured I would ask, is something like Slack installed machine wide or only for current logged in user?
Ooh, it is machine wide. So the Microsoft Store as well as um, the private repo installs at the system level, not at the user level.
All right, gotcha. And oops, I just accidentally closed the chat for a second. Pull that back up. And does a BYOD Windows machine count as MDM managed?
That is another great question. I would have to talk to my partner in crime, Hari, who knows all the ins and outs on Windows devices and management profiles. So I don't know offhand.
Hmm. Do they have, I guess it depends on whether they have, do they have Gem Cloud installed on it?
Wait, are we talking about like it has the agent on it versus like fully enrolled? Is
That's a
that the
good question because
question?
it's not, and typically for like commands and policies, those require the agent obviously on a Windows device. But this runs specifically through MDM. So I don't know on a BYOD scenario how
Yeah.
this might. So I'd have to confer with my counterpart here.
Yeah, that was a really good question, Kelly.
I mean, I think in the context of Windows, from what I understand, like BYOD is like understood differently than it is with like Android. So I would think it just really depends on how it was enrolled. So whether you choose to call it BYOD or not, we don't care. Just how did you install it? Does it
Yeah,
have programs? Does it
that
have
was
the
my
agent?
thought. It's
Yeah,
like
that sounds
Yeah.
right.
it really depends on so Kelly is saying I haven't had to enroll a Windows machine as BYOD yet, but I'm presuming it will happen eventually. So I had to ask. No, that's good to ask ahead of
Great
time,
question.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
great
I,
question.
and it depends on how you do it. So I think that's a big part of it. But maybe we can once Josh talks to Hari, maybe we can answer that on a future episode or post it in the lounge or something. But
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
try to get
Absolutely.
that.
And I know Hari's been actively working on um, looking at different management modes for Windows devices and been making a lot of progress there. So definitely worth, great question. And we will chat and see what we can learn around that.
And
But
then
from what I understand, there is no like BYOD flow as such. Sorry, now we can end this.
oh no, that's okay. That's perfect. I was just putting up Ricky's comment after the sandbox. Yay, no need to sandbox. Oh, that was good. I was gonna scroll back up. Um, and there was one other question that you were gonna research and get back to, and we can read out that answer on a future IT
Yeah,
talk.
with duplicate, exactly. With duplicate, if you've got a duplicate chocolate
Mhm.
application and that duplicate's one in the Microsoft Store, what is the behavior there? Absolutely.
Yeah. Ricky says, we do a lot of BYO lately with VAs, ICs overseas. It's been highly praised for auto install of apps, trusted conditional access, etc. Also helps us make sure they are using a compliant OS version, etc. Um, and Kelly's asking, what enrollment do you use, Ricky? Just agent install or the whole MDM enrollment flow?
Oh, interesting.
And
Nice.
yeah, I'm trying to make sure these are able to be heard on YouTube. And Ricky says BYO's self-enroll via console for Windows, Mac. Unfortunately, nothing yet for BYO, but iOS and Android same way as Windows. Whole flow. Been having to get many of them on Pro, but not a big deal. Yeah. For those who if you're new to this and may not know, on Windows you have to have a pro version in order to be compliant with their license and to be able to manage them. So
Yeah,
that's
home does not work all that well.
yeah, and it's not in compliance with the license either. If you are trying to use home, it just
Yeah.
doesn't have everything you need. And Brandon is saying for macOS, I think BYO flow is going to be tricky. I think and Ricky says yes. I think that's
Yeah,
probably true.
I feel like
It's
Mac right now is either like fully supervised, we're watching everything you do, or it's like go run around the field. We want nothing to do with you.
yeah, because if you I mean it's the difference between ABM or not, right?
Exactly.
Um
Or
and
else you're coming in with your own Apple ID.
yeah, and then it, trying to man you can't really manage that without adding it, and then it takes over your Apple ID, and then a lot of people don't want that. Oh, Brandon has an interesting suggestion. May I suggest a virtual PC in the cloud if you want clients to use BYO machines? Biggest issue is you can't separate work and personal on Mac OS well. Now I believe on iOS, well, on Android we've already done that separation, but I think we're working on that on iOS. Maybe, are we? Or is that the same thing where it's not possible
I don't.
yet?
Tom is probably the best person to provide some guidance there.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what he said. I don't want to speak out of turn because I can't
But I know it's
remember.
available on Android, and we've been working on that on Android. Um, you basically have a work profile and a personal profile, and it's separated on the device, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that exists on uh, iPhone or iPad.
Yeah, Brandon says iOS kind of
Let
does,
me
but it
check.
isn't great. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Brandon, is just that it's not quite there yet. Um, yeah,
I'm
I would
checking.
love it if I could kind of like, in a section just have here's my work email, here's my work Slack, and my whatever, video, whether it's Zoom or Meet or whatever, like I have that version of those over here, but I still have the versions I use for other stuff over in another spot so that I can just kind of like keep them in their little container. That would be great because then if we do need to nuke it for some reason, it doesn't nuke my entire phone. So back to one of Kelly's comments. Thanks for checking. Now that I can do some light MDM with Apple and Android, I can use Jump Cloud to manage those BYO devices. Um, and let's see. Lots of little chat on what we were just talking about. iOS is terrible at the BYOD. Android separation is mostly good. A couple of issues, it works well. A lot less bad on iOS. The user enrollment stuff works reasonably well. User enrollment on iOS is still meh. When you unenroll, it nukes personal data as well. See, that's what I don't want. I don't want to nuke all of my stuff. It isn't as clear cut as Android work profile, but you can get some management out of them. Here's a comment from Ricky. Sergi, yay, Sergi has our backs on iOS, definitely already on Android. Looking forward for more iOS features for BYO. Trusted, I'm looking at you. VPP for BYO is a nice feature, which helped us finally move from Jamf over to JC for iOS. Well,
Nice.
I love hearing that, Ricky.
Oh, I circling back, just found some documentation about personal iOS and iPad. So you can actually do like a different kind of enrollment, like a user enrollment, and the data is stored in a separate partition of the device and keeps all of the users' data separate and safe. So I'm just sharing this link about
Mhm.
all Apple enrollment method options.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. What Brandon had said earlier was something about it's Apple still nukes personal data when you unenroll. So I guess we'd have to look at that a little bit. And he says, I get why they did it. It's cleaner from a UX perspective. It just sucks from an actual use case experience. Yeah, that would really, I have way too much stuff, even though I back it up to the cloud mostly, but still that would really not be fun. If you want to use a proxy on iOS, you cannot do only work items. It's only per app. Yeah, see that would be my problem if I want to split in an app because I have like, maybe I have work and personal stuff on Slack and things like that. And Kelly's saying, sounds like she might want to test the unenroll wipe a bit more on iOS.
I loved her earlier review, which was like, it's less bad.
Yeah.
Not good, just slightly less bad.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they'll improve it over time so we can do our part to make it better. Brandon says, if you are a GW org, you need to push the Google managed version of Gmail. For instance, when you unenroll, it will not nuke the entire device, but it will nuke the personal and work Gmail as they are the same app. Yeah, exactly. It'd be the same way with Slack. Like I've got some industry Slacks that I'm in that are for, professionals in my industry, and I have Jump Cloud Slack. So I would need it to only nuke those accounts,
Yeah.
not my other accounts. And what Brandon's saying is, no, it would just nuke the whole Slack, basically. The same with Gmail. So that would be the bummer on that, because they can't differentiate. And then he says Apple needs to steal the flow from BlackBerry Android and bubble it up. Yep. Put little bubbles.
Wait, I have a follow-up question for Brandon. Have you talked about it with anybody, like with support or Sergi, about the unenroll nuking the wrong things?
Well, I mean, if it's per app, I don't know if they can get more granular than that. I think he's saying it's just a limitation on the Apple side. Like you would literally have to use different apps for work and personal, and then that way it can only, like I use iOS Mail. Like if I wanted that, I would have to use iOS Mail for my personal stuff and Gmail for my work stuff, and then that way it would just nuke Gmail. So Samuel's saying like just wipe the work account. I think Apple doesn't quite work that way. You'd have to wipe the work account manually or something, or use two different apps to do that, is what it sounds like. So I think we've got to work with Apple to get them to improve that some way, and maybe just have containers where this container has the Apple, the work accounts, and this container has the personal accounts. And I think that's how it's done kind of more in Android anyway. Brandon's saying, in order for an app to manage policies by MDM, it needs to be managed by the MDM. User enrollment solves some issues, but doesn't fix the root cause. Please send feedback to Apple. All right. Samuel says, with Intune, if you have MAM, you can wipe just the work account. It depends on the app developer, I think, what is possible with MAM. Okay, so yeah. She says, I'm like 10,000% sure Tom has been emailing them for like 10 years. Tom gives feedback a lot.
Absolutely.
He's very, very good at that.
Absolutely.
So we'll
Kelly
try to
agrees
keep
with
hammering.
me. She says for longer than that.
Yeah.
Jonathan, Tom will disagree with you because he has actually had them listen to him. I heard. Legend has it. They once
I mean,
actually implemented it, something he had been talking about.
they're slow to incorporate stuff like that, but we are building as much of a relationship, and Tom's been amazing at that. So
Instrumental with our relationship with Apple, and really has their ear and works very closely with them. If we have concerns in working with them, that's been really helpful for Jump Cloud and Apple, and for all of you as well.
yeah, definitely. Brandon says, when you remove an MDM, it nukes the apps managed by it, which nukes the personal and work side of it. So just reiterating that. And there are still issues if you don't have MDM capabilities. Fun fact, it also makes compliant in Ontario difficult, as you can't easily turn off work.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
A great call out, Brandon.
That could make it fun. It would just be easier to have two phones sometimes.
I was just gonna say, you gotta have a second phone.
Yeah, that would just be easier
Or
at times. Even though I
yeah.
hate carrying two phones, I could see where it's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this. So
I wonder
let's
if you
just
could do a dual SIMs.
No, you leave the
well,
work phone in the drawer. on like Friday at 5 p.m.
Hmm.
and you
I
never
won-
have to carry it anywhere.
I wonder how that would work, Josh, because now some of the phones, have the eSIMs. I wonder if can they do multiple eSIMs on the newer phones?
I believe so, because I think, like, for example, when you're traveling to different locations, you're able to manage it that way. But it's a great question. I don't know offhand.
Oh.
Ooh, double-sided tape. Yep. Nice.
Brandon says dual SIMs doesn't fix the app issue. I think it just gives you two phone numbers, but everything still exists
Yep.
on the same thing. Oh, Brandon says depends on the device. Yeah. I mean, I've always had like the physical SIM, and then my newest phone does not. It just has the eSIM. So oh wow, Brandon's S24 allows for 6, he thinks.
Why would you
Wow.
need 6 unless you're in like a scam farm in a developing nation that's just making phone calls?
It reminds me of the old family phones when people had one line for their whole house.
Oh, travel sims. Oh my God, what? That's so vintage. There was like only one phone in their whole house. So what happens if two people need to make calls at the same time?
You gotta
They
wait.
can't.
Yep.
Nope.
That's like prison.
Especially when you have a teenager who likes to talk and talk and talk,
Yep.
and you gotta kick them off the phone.
Oh my gosh. That sounds terrible. Just kidding. I had a rotary phone at one point. So I remember.
Kelly, if your phone can have 6 numbers, you need to solve for a larger problem than work profiles. They've got several side gigs, and they need a different phone number for each one.
Ooh, there you go.
And not side gigs. I mean, like
I
legit,
was just
like
going to
in the
say
gig economy.
sidekick.
Yeah,
Like
in the
legit
gig economy.
hustles.
Yeah, watch your minds, people. Okay.
Sorry.
That's right, Urvashi. Androids are for scam.
They're for hustlers, okay? We just talked about it, you guys. We just talked about side gigs, not side gigs. I stand corrected.
Wait, side gig or side kicks? It's starting to sound the same. If you say it enough times, it sounds the same. Jonathan says one for unlimited data, one for personal line, corp sim, long distance sim, and then the travel sim. So yeah, honestly, if you need more phone numbers, just get a PBX at that point. It's what Brandon said.
Yeah, Brandon, you're coming back to my old days of working on PBXs.
Oh man, I used to work for a company, and I would fill in for whoever was at the front desk and have to answer like 10 to 12 different lines, and it was chaos. Chaos, I tell
I
you.
just had to Google what a PBX is. It seems vintage.
A public branch exchange.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I think there are lots of businesses that still have, small businesses.
Yeah, like for call centers and stuff.
Absolutely. For call centers, they're used oftentimes, and you can have soft devices, right? So all the phones can be on computers, and that's used very common.
Yep, absolutely. All right. iOS actually has a really good eSIM support, Brandon
cool.
says. Oh, Kelly says she wasn't even thinking that until I gave it the air quotes. Oh, so I prompted the 12-year-old thinking for Kelly. So you're welcome. All right. Well, we've got a few more minutes. So Urvashi, I think it's your turn. Do we have any good news today?
Ooh, the news of the week.
Definitions of good news are in the eyes of the beholder.
Oh, good as in
Okay.
interesting, or maybe even
Interesting, yeah, I
wild.
think so, maybe-ish. I have one fun one that I've saved for the end. Okay, so there's a couple of Google Workspace / Chrome updates. So the first one is that Google Workspace is rolling out a multi-admin approval feature for risky changes. So you basically have to have two people approve an action, and they have like a list of actions that are eligible for like multi-admin approval. So you can look at that in the article, link in the show notes. So yeah, basically it's aimed at preventing like, hijacking. So if somebody gets access to a super admin account, they still can't do anything unless there's another admin who signs off on it. It's the approvals are available for 72 hours or they expire, so that's also good. And then after the approver approves it, it just executes automatically. So it's not like the requester has to wait for the approver and then actually roll it out. So it just does that automatically. Then, any thoughts before I proceed? Series Fallout is available for Apocalypse enjoyment. Okay, not connected. Moving on. The second one is Chrome Enterprise gets a premium version for security, but you have to pay for it. So it is a step up from Chrome Enterprise. So it's now Enterprise Premium. And it provides threat and data protection, increased control options, and reporting capabilities. So they've got support for multiple TCP protocols, context-based access controls, assist with enforcing zero trust, all things that Jump Cloud can do. So you don't have to pay extra. Just saying, always be selling. Threat and data protection features rely partly on AI to improve defenses and deliver content inspection and data loss prevention, anti-malware, anti-phishing. It seems like with additional security will come like less, like reduced privacy for sure. But if it's enterprise and it's on your work computer, then it's gonna happen. And yes, Google One VPN is going away. I read that, but didn't add it to the news because I didn't know how many people actually used it. Chrome Enterprise Premium apparently has features from Beyond Trust. Oh, is this one of those situations where like the big dog is like looking at what all the little people are doing and being like, actually, we'll just do that ourselves, putting companies out of business?
Why not? Apple does do that a
Yeah.
lot. They'll incorporate
Yep.
what someone else has in their app and then just add it as a feature.
Built-in feature.
Did anybody else hear anything about incognito mode and Google having to potentially like delete some files from incognito? Maybe not.
The
I
last
don't.
thing I saw about incognito was that it wasn't really that incognito.
It's not at all. And I had seen something that there may be some um, a suit or something that's been requested. Let me see if I can do some research on that.
Wait, I think I found it. Google agrees to delete incognito browsing data
Yeah, that's the one.
in lawsuit settlement. Google said it would delete millions of records of users' browsing activities as part of a settlement of a class action lawsuit that alleged to track people without their knowledge.
Yeah,
I
that was a fun one. I saw that a couple days ago.
I mean, there were other browsers that the same thing. They were supposed to be safer as a um, more private browser, and it turned out that they weren't any more private than any of the
Yeah,
others.
for privacy, I've always used it. Incognito mode is great from a work standpoint because you could log into different logins, right? And so you could have different, but in terms of privacy, there's nothing to speak
Yeah,
of.
it's just about separating the context. I don't think it can do anything else. Kelly says they said incognito was actually secret, and now they say they can totally be trusted to delete the secret data they weren't supposed to have in the first place. Got it.
Yeah, Kelly, right on.
Like
Yeah,
the way I'm
sure.
imagining this playing out is like class action lawsuit. Google's like, okay, fine, we'll delete it. Conditions apply.
When they say
Yay.
delete it, they're going to sell it to a bunch of third-party
Delete it.
ads.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ah,
We'll delete it, but we're gonna take our sweet time in doing it.
Yeah, monetize that as best we can.
we'll back it up and then delete some of it. Anyways,
Oh, we'll delete it
moving.
on this server, but that server over there, we didn't include that in the
Whoops,
stipulations.
didn't know. Moving on. I think this one is slightly more uplifting. We have finally heard from our old friends at CISA who are making a malware next gen analysis system that used to be available only to government agencies. It's now publicly available. So you can, so anyone from the public can submit malware samples for analysis by CISA. So they hope that this will streamline the processes that allow the agency to hunt for new threats and analyze, correlate, and enrich data that's valuable in cyber threat response operations. So seems like a good thing. Silver lining in the cloud of darkness. Today in Google is why the internet can't have nice things. Yes, correct, Kelly. Correct. Moving on to more things that are being exploited. A critical takeover vulnerability. No, wait, I read that wrong. Critical takeover vulnerabilities in 92,000 D-Link devices are under active exploitation. So hackers are actively exploiting a pair of recently discovered vulnerabilities to remotely commandeer network-attached storage devices manufactured by D-Link. 92,000 devices are vulnerable, which is all pointless because literally D-Link is saying they're not going to patch the vulnerabilities because these are end-of-life devices. So even though 92,000 of these devices exist in the world, they're not going to patch them. So toss it in the trash can. What are the options? Let us swiftly move on from that. This one's my favorite. Consumers will finally see an FCC mandated nutritional label for broadband plans, according to The Verge. It appears that a nearly 8-year long battle by the FCC to require internet companies to display information on the costs, fees, and speeds of their broadband services is finally over. Starting on Wednesday, all but the smallest ISPs, so I'm assuming it was Wednesday this week, all but the smallest ISPs will be required to publish broadband nutrition labels on all of their plans. And the intention is that they'll allow consumers to more easily compare between plans and avoid hidden fees. So each label will include monthly prices, introductory rates, data allowances, speeds, links to find out about available discounts or service bundles, and links to network management practices, privacy policies, and stuff like that. They should appear both online and at physical stores. And I'm going to share my
That's very
screen
cool.
so that you can see what was in the article. Um, it's, I mean, I don't know how real this is, but if it is, it's amazing. Green. You'll see that.
And it looks like what you see on a box of whatever, of
I
food.
don't know how easy that's going to be to read, though.
I mean, I don't know if they're really going to do it, but if they did, it would be cool. So you could actually, like, apparently, this is a sample nutrition label.
I suppose if they're all like that and they list them exactly the same, it would be pretty
It would help.
easy to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
for
they're
it,
using
honestly.
the nutrition label format. That's pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But I'm kind of glad they're doing it because there's so much stuff that you like don't expect that one day they're just like, did you know you have 10,000 channels that you can choose from that you've been paying for since the beginning?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. This
Upgrade
is
to 20,000. Oh, Keith's provider has one.
Oh, Google
Found
Fiber
Google
has one
Fibers.
as well. I'll have to look at that.
so I
See what
wonder if
they
they include fiber content.
Kelly says, oh, yay, a nutrition label. Now make it so that I have more than one choice.
Yeah, because in some
Multimedia,
areas,
Kelly, we have a couple. Google Fiber nutrition label. Ha! See what you did there now, Josh. Took me a second and a half. Oh my gosh. Nutrition labels. Oh, it's a real thing, you guys. Look.
so some people have already been doing them. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, Keith shared a link also. Click on service facts.
Ah, G fiber
They've
nutrition label.
they've even put in like an ingredients summary. So they've got, wait, let me share this. Oh no, we're running out of time. Never mind. Basically, click the link and look at it in your own time. They've said like many symmetrical plans to choose from, low latency, no data limits, simple, everyday low pricing, no equipment or other surprise fees, real humans that you can reach quickly, and no tricks or gimmicks.
Wait, what? Google offers 8 gig. I've seen the 1 and 2 gig, but they also have
And they keep
5 and 8 gig. Holy moly. I had no idea. Wow. I have 1 gig and it's okay, although my kids complain all the time. Um, so I may have to eventually go up to
Now
2, but I
available
don't.
in high fiber.
Get your
I'll show
brand,
myself
get your
out.
brand here. Get your brand here and be
Oh,
much more regular with Google Fiber. They could play with that totally. Like, is your internet slow? Does it
I
need to
know,
be?
right?
Does it flow a little slow? Do you need
No.
do you need it to be more regular?
Ah.
and Urvashi and I were just chatting about coffee earlier this morning.
Add a little coffee and then you'll have even better. Let's see.
This is a professional.
8
Showing it,
gig.
guys.
So they were talking, so 8 gig, Keith, is $150 with Google Fiber. So Steve and I always take it to the next level. That's why I'm going to make an excellent cult leader. I will.
I agree. Community is really just the corporate way of saying cult. And my friend recently has been referring to marketing as the propaganda department. So really, it's just a little prettied up, but it's all the same old stuff.
That's right, Kelly. Allegedly. You can't prove it. You can't prove it that that's what I'm doing. I'm just, yeah. Thank you,
Aw,
Stephen. And of course, I love all of you because that's why we're here every week. We
yes.
absolutely love. This is our favorite time of the week because y'all make this very fun. So thank you for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope the weather's great and that you get some time to get outside and do whatever is fun. Thank you, Stephen. I'm glad it's a highlight of your week. It's a highlight of ours too. We sometimes we are surprised that we get paid to do this, and we hope that they actually don't watch this too often. The powers that be. Um,
That's why we have the IT hour transcript that we can send them, which is the neat, standardized, product focused version.
yes, that's what we post publicly. So we'll shh. You guys are our co-conspirators on this. A blanket
Sending out the
disclaimer at the start to protect. Oh, to protect Jump Cloud from me. Oh, I see how you are, Nathan. I thought it was to protect me. I see how you are. I'll remember that. I'll remember that, Nathan.
You just
All right.
angered our cult leader, so just saying you should watch out. Lock your
Forget
doors.
forget the wrath of Khan. Just saying. All
Please
right.
express
No,
you.
I can't be mad at Nathan because he has helped us out multiple times, and we appreciate him and many, many others of you who have done great things for us. So thank you for joining us. As always, this has been a pleasure. So we hope to see you next week. And remember, in 2 weeks, what? 2 weeks, it's going to be April 26th. We're going to have the co-founders of Resmo here with us. And it's our 100th episode, if you can believe it. And yeah, I know I need to do the confetti again. And we are going to celebrate and do some giveaways and try to have some fun with it. So, yeah, come join us then. And we'll see you next week. Take care, all.